Copy. Hi, everybody. Gonna end stream on this side. I gotta see. I don't know if I'm live just yet. Where are we at here? I should be. This is Ashley 2. There. Okay. Okay. All right. So I've been here. Hold on. I gotta throw Ashley the link. Paste. I think that should do it. I think I did that right. All right, Howard is back. I hope everybody pops right back in. I moved as quickly as I could. It's because hopefully StreamYard will be good and not giving me the Riverside problems. Because I'm doing things pretty simple. I'm using free Riverside, which is part of the reason why I had to wait. Okay, there we go. There's Ash. Good.
Oh, I'm on this side now.
You're on that side. All righty. Good. So we were just talking about some of the history leading up to the problems that are going to come with the we were talking about the ibocaine legalization. And like I said, and basically what you were getting at is the evil of various lobbyists and influences, and the question of the consequences of improper application because of how they're going to want to put this in the market, right? We always have to worry about the market force, right? And this is one of the things where, like, you know, like us people that don't want to be communists, but
right.
You know, we have to fucking fix this shit before everybody fucking is too stupid to fix this shit and then just decides to give us starvation like idiots until somebody comes to liberate us.
There's no one left to liberate the United States, right? Who would come after what the United States has done in the last 50 years?
Right. Hey, maybe if we play our cards right, the Iranians.
Right. I'm sure.
Right. This is why. See, this is why we're doing it. So we help them install the Shah. Then we collapse the communism. World War III happens, and then Iran comes to our rescue with Israel. See?
No.
Yes. There we go. See, like I should have been the Antichrist. Would have been so much. It would have made so much more sense. Anyway, keep going. I was born on Easter, you know.
I think that what a lot of people are missing too, that ibogaine has to be harvested from tree roots, and it's especially harvested from trees that are over 30 years old. They're already horrendously over harvested. They've destroyed entire massive plantings that have been around for God knows how long of these plants, you know, and they're having to protect them like you would with, any other heavily controlled plant that's in desire. So I don't know if they're going to synthesize, like they did the Gila monster venom on the GLP-1s to create this in a synthetic form to protect the ecology.
Right.
Or if they're just going to destroy what's left, because those are your two options. You're not even going to have the real plant essence if they do the synthetic version. So, I think that microdosing is a much underspoken about beautiful alternative to doing a massive blow your brain out for 36-hour dose, which is very effective for helping to reduce the symptoms. Now, I do know that the main talking point for Trump and Mr. Rogan was it was useful for combat vets with PTSD. I also know that many of these people that are combat vets that have PTSD are on heavy psychotropics. And they're still administering these same anthrax vaccines that they did during the Gulf War that gave them Gulf War syndrome and neurodegeneration. And so if they really gave a crap about the health and well-being of our young men in this country, they would not be sending them off to these foreign wars, but they are. They have to have their Holocaust
Yeah.
and their sacrifices, and so I don't know. That's why I don't buy it. I don't trust them at all.
Quick question: the Gulf War syndrome. My understanding of the Gulf War syndrome, the conspiracy is that we were using some sort of radioactive, like a uranium depleted fucking ordnance or something like that. And because
it was already there.
What's that?
It was already there when they got there from the Russians, from the late 70s, whenever the Russian tanks had depleted uranium shells, and they were completely ate up. And then they gave them pesticides that weren't supposed to be used on people, and they were supposed to be diluted down in 50-gallon drums and sprayed on equipment, not on the humans, and they put that on their skin. And then they gave them untested anthrax vaccines that had never been put on
Right.
any lab rat or anything else. And then I heard, now this is up for debate because I have not been able to verify this, that the law office that was doing the class action lawsuit for Gulf War syndrome was in the Oklahoma City bombing. That office was there. And I myself have a great deal of experience with this because my first husband was diagnosed with Gulf War syndrome. And so the statistics that they admit are 25% of all of Gulf War veterans have this disorder. But here's what I know, because I saw this with my own eyes and dealt with it myself. To be able to receive his 100% combat related pension, he had to say that it was caused by PTSD and was never allowed to mention Gulf War syndrome again. And he had to sign the document that said that he would do that. And I was sitting at the desk. And so whatever that 25% is, I mean, they had pictures of all the guys standing out there. Oh, yeah, on top of the tanks with their pesticides and their newly placed anthrax vaccines and all. There was more than anthrax. And there's been congressional hearings over this. They've never directly acknowledged it. They paid all these guys off. And of course, right now, our government is so inefficient that the Chapter 35 educational benefits that were promised to these guys that had Gulf War syndrome are not paid out for 2 semesters in a row. It's unprecedented. They said that they changed accounting software and just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
And
well, it's like, I remember sitting there like watching like 10, 15 years of 9/11 compensation fund for mesothelioma victims that just, they never got anything out of it because the system would have legally like collapsed under the admission of the asbestos situation in the World Trade Center complex, which may or may not have been a scam in context. And because I think just the asbestos sitting there isn't a problem. It's only when it gets kicked up is it ever a problem. And so there was no real need to cause an issue with asbestos the way that we did. I don't know. I have funny feelings about that whole thing because it just sounds like to me they blew it out of proportion, right?
Yeah, I've heard firsthand accounts of people that were in the building that saw the explosives. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, look, there's what caused 9/11, but I'm just talking about people that were working there for months, inhalating the dust.
Yeah, I mean, you got plenty. I've lived in a house with asbestos before. It's just like the lead paint. Like they're like the paint chips, get in the kids. I'm like, I don't have any kids that are gnawing on the banister rail.
Right. And the asbestos, when it just lies there, isn't in the air. Even if it's just stuck to the wall because it's in its hardened state. Like that all makes sense to me. So like,
yeah, I don't buy any of it. Whatever their narrative is, you can pretty much guarantee it's a lie.
Right. Like if you're not a conspiracy theorist, you can chump that up to like, oh, these are like just lawyers, greedy lawyers making up like frivolous prosecutions. And then that all bit us in the ass with 9/11. But they went and they doubled down on the science about the asbestos that we base the law on, right? And
It could
when
have been
we,
as simple as
they
bettering
realize
the insurance.
the engineering circumstances mean that the science of asbestos in the lungs is irrelevant, except for 9/11, which isn't anybody's fault except for maybe Larry Silver.
Ding.
But yeah, no, there was a way of doing that where good people didn't have to get fucking screwed over just to legally protect X, Y, and Z. And then that just adds to the fucking issue of everything everybody hates about the system now. And like I said, I think that at the end of the day, the propaganda is probably just better in communism, because I don't think it's better in communism other than, oh, look at the pretty infrastructure we built. Oh, that's great. How do you treat your people?
I mean, you're talking about basically Canada right now. Like they're mostly, I mean, they're in between, somewhere in between socialist and headed towards communist, you know. And if you have cancer there,
I mean, doctors are prescribing death.
You don't get in. You don't get in.
Doctors are literally prescribing death to people.
It's insane up there. I keep seeing people like that are depressed, and they're like, "Well, we have a death chamber for you over here. Would you like that?"
Yeah. There was there was a really fucking intelligent fucking movie. The filmmaker, I got to see his last film that came out like in 2021 or something. Canadian filmmaker. He made this film called Ink, I-N-K. I brought up this movie when I talked to Tom Althouse because it was inspired by The Matrix, and the fourth Matrix film had a lot of crossover cast members from this movie. So you'll recognize Matrix 4 characters from Ink. And Ink was about an incubus demon that kidnaps a little girl whose father is a high executive asshole. And he is struggling to have feelings and a relationship with human beings in general. And it's affecting his ability to have a relationship with his daughter on top of that, because he keeps feeling the pull of the serious corporate world telling him, don't play with your daughter, right? Like, this is kind of like the premise. It's a dark fairy tale told, and there's all these dream warriors that exist in this world that try to keep they're human beings, like basically they're like special people like you and me that can go and slip into a dream, and their ether bodies are working on the dream realm, helping all sorts of people have good rest at night and things like that. But there's an organization of these evil guys that have these like TV heads, these strange glasses, this smile, and they're kind of like these demons of that corporate spirit trying to whisk away his soul for their purposes.
It's almost like Dark City, it sounds like.
Yeah, dark. I mean, like, yeah, Dark City. Like, if you remember anything about my interview with Tom Althouse, or many people's interviews with Tom Althouse, once you get him to that part of the conversation, it's that because like the zeitgeist of the 90s was all picking up on that, right? And Dark City wasn't ripping off the Matrix, but because its production was in a loose crossover because of the way politics in the industry work, that's just the general ideas, not so much a particular screenplay, which is why The Matrix doesn't have a screenplay. It only has a storyboard, because Tom's story was stolen, which is the whole point, because, Tom is the Cavassier of Hollywood, just like Jodorowsky was the Cavassier of Hollywood in the 70s. He wrote Dune, and then they ripped up Dune and they made Star Wars, and they made Lynch's Dune, and they made Buck Rogers, and they made all these different fucking things, stealing every fucking idea in his fucking script and storyboard. And then they did the same thing to Tom with The Immortals. And that's why you see all sorts of shit that's in his script in not just the 4 Matrix films, but across not only the Wachowskis' fucking work, but a large deal of the work of those companies and Disney.
I can't even take Wachowski, and my brain hurts. They're
just directors.
What happened to the Wachowski?
They're just directors. They don't know how to write. They just direct stuff.
That's not what I was
they have a directing style, and that's it.
What are the odds that 2 brothers both become 2 sisters? What odds?
He explains that they were blackmailed, humiliated ritual. They want to work in this town because when they stole the Immortals, they created a legal headache for Warner Brothers.
Have you seen that black woman that says that she wrote it first?
Oh, exactly. I'd like to see her have a debate with Tom. I'd like to see Tom eat her fucking alive. She doesn't know what the fuck she's talking.
I don't know her name. I wish I knew her name, but she's
doubt it. Oh, her name is Sophia.
Interesting.
Stewart.
Okay.
So she is choking wisdom. That is what her name means. She was stewarding. She's holding it away.
Jeez.
Of wisdom.
Super interesting.
Yes.
To me. You know, I don't know. I just feel like everything that we're shown is a decoy. I've had that word come up to me so many times in the last week. Like whatever you're looking at, whoever they're saying, like you know how often you're scrolling social media and you see this stupid meme that says, Bill Gates says you need to eat 700 rotten mosquitoes or whatever. And I'm like, it's not Bill Gates. He's just a decoy. He's just a puppet.
The CIA and other various agencies that have shadow operations in the United States, they make big investments. They don't even necessarily create the phenomenon. They just invest it and they steer the course of Naglfar's ship.
Yeah. Well,
and people can't handle it because we've been living through the crashing of Naglfar upon the waves. It is breaking apart, and you loved the boat because you weren't looking at its inner bowels, right? You know, the Titanic, so the Titanic of our entire pop culture, which was a giant fucking covert operation by the secret controllers who would scapegoat those people. And you're having a hard time with it. It's just like people's emotional reaction to knowing that that's not Jim Carrey on a level of Epstein consciousness is like this, like talk about the absolute symbol of depression, to understand the level of he must be controlled to be in the situation that we assume, right? And we're just going crazy on assumptions only because that instance we know it's not Jim Carrey.
Yeah. And he came out like a week later and was like, He
didn't come out. He released a video that could have been recorded at any time.
Yeah.
His people, he's had his official people say, "Are you silly? Look at him. He's fine. We're telling you he's fine. We're his friends." that's your first red flag.
Yeah.
In a hostage situation, you start with proof of life. You start with proof of life to know you have something to negotiate with. But your heart can't take the truth, can it?
So on the whole, isn't it said that even King Solomon was dead for a long time and that the jinn were tricked into still performing their slave duties before they found out, and that his staff was knocked over, was it? And the statue of him fell over, and then they realized that their bonds were broken free because of basically it was a decoy. And I don't think that Solomon was a man, but it was a station. And so I think about that often. Whenever we see all these people with these face masks on, they're just stations that they're holding to maintain the attention of the populace so that we can pretend that they're still alive because we can continue on with our slave duties. How has that changed for the masses? For the people who are conscious, they're able to see past it and live in a parallel sovereign way to a point. But I don't know.
You see, here's Anpu. Everybody knows that. Say hi to my crafting of Anpu, who hangs
Hey,
out.
Anpu.
He hangs out on my altar. It's part of daily ritual that he is present in my mind ever since he came to me in dreams and picked me. So I just do what I do because the dog's on my ass. All right. So if I had taken a living man and said, could you be my fucking Lord of the Dead? Can I fucking just have all these pictures of you everywhere to keep you on my mind and to think about what you would do next and so on and so forth? If I had made that into a living man or modeled it off of a once living man, I have robbed it of its eternity because I have captured it in time and space. This is why there's a big problem with people on savior consciousness, messianic consciousness,
necromancy to the umpteen.
Right. It's you're not able to unlock the hero in yourself. Jesus is a ripoff of Horus because they don't want you to be a hero. So they changed the definition of a hero and then infected entire of Roman society with this, except for the military class who got the Mithraic version, which allows for war under moral circumstances, and then
Zoroastrianism before that
join the two to invent holy wars, all because for some reason the Levant is important. Fuck knows why.
The comment's funny. You're a pick-me heathen.
Anyway, so we have been worshiping literal totems that are people walking around that can change their nature on you. You worship Jim Carrey, you're worshiping Loki. He changes his face, he does this, he does that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just see all of it as fake.
Loki. Jim Carrey may have been doing that I don't exist thing because when he closes the door, Loki whispers in his ear and fucking possesses him. And this is what Loki does when he doesn't want to hurt anybody, but he has to make Jim Carrey hurt people in private, so he has a strong bond with him.
Isn't that what the mask was about?
I could pour all my wrath into Jim Carrey on an anti-Loki level that a lot of heathens don't understand because why are you picking on Loki? He's an archetype and he's a spirit. He gets a bad rap because he has to oppose the gods because the gods get arrogant sometimes. It's just like, you don't understand a goddamn thing about the myth, motherfucker. That's fucking one level. Congratulations. You understand I know how to teach you with the mythology level. Hey, good. Go read some more fucking Jung and catch up with me in 20 years when your heart's fucking changed from a religious experience that no one can take away from you and has nothing to do with converting anybody to anything or whatever, because Christians and other conversionist types make all of this shit look bad and you just can't be fucking excited about what it means that the gods are real.
Yeah.
Kill me. Can't have any fucking fun. Sorry, Aries season has been...
This Aries season is a trip right now.
Yeah. Is it still Aries? Wait, it's the 19th. Is it Taurus yet?
I don't know. I just know that there's been a bunch of planets. I haven't looked at it in a few days because I was just like, oh, it's an Aries dog pile.
Right. I mean, once everything clears, Neptune and Saturn are still going to be there. So enjoy it.
Right. That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neptune is an interesting placement in Aries. It's like walking with a warrior with soggy feet.
Mm-hmm.
Trench foot.
Very good. And by the way, it was definitely an issue with Riverside. StreamYard is going just fine. I think Riverside just has too many bells and whistles, and it's taken up too much memory. I think that's all it is.
Yeah, it's working. It's working a lot better. I can tell.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. Whew.
Yeah,
okay.
I think this is something that, to tie it all kind of back together to all this stuff that we are being basically told to take or that is in the popular consciousness is not it. It's not going to be it. They're not ever going to promote something that is beneficial for you in the long run without an ulterior motive. We may not always know what those motives are, whether it's in medicine or politics or culture or music or whatever. But getting back to the earth, what the earth has to offer, what's around you medicinally in the plants that are around you are worth looking into. Because, like, for example, on the statin side, artichoke leaf tea is far more effective in getting rid of cholesterol, and it's so cheap, and it tastes terrible, but it works, and it doesn't take all the myelination off your nerves, and it also helps and aids in weight loss significantly. They have artichoke leaf extract that you can add to your water that will make your water be a weight loss drink with no side effects. Just throwing that out there. There's other and better ways. There's homeopathic formulations of weight loss drops. I wish I had them with me right now. I could show you. I've got access to. I can put a link in it just to show you what's in them. It's all natural. It's all natural. You don't have to take venoms. All of this stuff goes hand in hands. With it's not necessary, and they're not telling you the truth that they're actually helping you with any of the dietary options for GLP-1s. It's just marketing. It's not anything else.
So little weight loss supplemental, like things like this, the Kitchen Witch stuff, like depending on that is part of a mix of things that are gonna help, right? Because like what would be like the big difference if, say, an obese person took it versus somebody who just maybe had like just was fat, right? Because there's a goddamn
no.
Fat.
This comes back to don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. When you have somebody that's morbidly obese and is diabetic, these drugs can be life-saving. This goes back to using logic, common sense, and weighing out your risk versus benefit. Okay. I mean, people can be horrendously overweight. They're already malnourished severely. So you had better, they do have nutritional supplements that are aimed at replacing the amino acids and minerals that are lost with GLP-1s. I would focus on that more than any specific pre-prepared, pre-packaged food. Mineral depletion is the root cause of so many diseases. I can't even name them all. I couldn't even begin. It's why we have heavy metal toxicity. It's why we have lowered consciousness. It causes alteration in our whole electromagnetic field that even opens us up for entity attack. I mean, it's that deep. And these are just salts. Okay? Like calcium phosphate, potassium phosphate, arsenic iodide. And I know arsenic, they'll be like, you don't need arsenic. No, you actually do need a micro tiny mineral of a little bit of arsenic iodide. That's what gives you these lines right here whenever you don't have it. And that's what they're hitting with Botox so that you can't make a mad face anymore. So it's an arsenic iodide deficiency that's making you have this that's visible whenever you're at rest. These horizontal lines that are present whenever you're at rest, and if they're really thick, unless you have different structure that you have a large brow, are heavy metal poisoning.
Right.
When the corner of the whites of your eyes right here, this is copper. If it's extra white at the center, the large indentions by your nose right here, whenever they're heavily indented, is selenium. When your eyelashes are turned up like this is boron deficiency. These things are visible. These lines next to your ear right here, whenever you see a lot of lines on somebody, that's silica deficiency. That means they're not even their bones are not even nutrient. I mean, I could go on and on. That white line right here over your lip, this is low zinc. Okay. So,
yeah.
All this stuff is visible. This is the science. It's not.
That's crazy microscopic details too. And I think that that's also I think that those details mean everything to a woman. I think a guy is going to look at different ideas about that. Some of that, right? And depending on how much they're they're on their facial details, right? You know, but for the most
Men
part,
don't look at it at all. It'll
guys
be their,
are really interested in just having a facial shape and, you know, a few basic good looking things, right? Otherwise not a big deal, and it's not a big deal to ladies out there. But
I think what I'm seeing the most on people is there's a horizontal line above the chin right here. And that's a malnutrition line. That means that they're not assimilating minerals and vitamins like at all.
Yeah.
And so that's treated with your 12 basic cell salts and a few other ones, you know, just right here. It'll be, and in somebody older, it will droop. But now that I know these things, I'm like in the grocery store going, you need to go buy your vegetables. I'm minding my business.
and I wonder, right? Let's just say somebody's got the problems that you were talking about that affect the lines up here in the forehead, right? You know, anybody who's an experienced meditator, let's just say this person doesn't do the fluoride thing. And so like, you know, they got a functional pineal gland if they were to be a meditator who also for some reason has fucked up their face, right? Because they put these things that affect the cranial area and stuff. When you meditate, if you focus on the third eye, typically you feel, you got the tingle. It, you know, when you close your eyes, you can't help but feel like Tool Guy. It's just like, oh, I probably didn't open my third eye. Wow, that's right?
Yeah, no, I've done it before right there where it looked like I had a zit, but it wasn't. It was from
it's just
through right there, and it was projecting out like onto the inside wall of my electromagnetic field, you know.
Yeah,
and
you're literally feeling your psychic projections center. It's fucking it's a wild experience. It helps you know the realism of certain things that we talk about, right?
That's
so
what
I'm wondering if that feeling still comes through. I'm wondering how it affects things psychically on that level, just because I know that there's a feeling there. And I'm just imagining if I did that to my face and I was meditating, and would I be able to feel my third eye knowing that I'm doing it right? Because I would imagine I would tell myself, oh my God, I can't feel my third eye because I've done this to myself, right? Like what would be the circumstance, you know?
Well, the whole world's like Helen Keller right now, and the majority of people think that that's a conspiracy and that it's new age bullshit and all these things, and it's hard to convey to somebody what you can experience, you know. And third eye is one thing, but you know, whenever there's different levels of vision and different layers to see through, you know. It's like an onion as your consciousness raises, and I know that I haven't made it all the way through because I'm still here. But I mean, I don't know that you can see all the way through and maintain form here, you know.
Right. You know, it's best to find a nice safe space so you don't fall through the chair.
Yeah, it's, you know, I don't know. It's been a minute since I've had that completely wide open like that. It's a little bit. But the minerals do play a role in it. At the time, whenever I was able to see, I had my own garden and I was only eating meat that I had hunted myself and fish that I had caught myself. At the time, I was just living very healthy and I was exercising all the time. It was probably the height of the best shape I've ever been in when it happened, you know. And you have to wonder what's being done to us now to make sure that that doesn't happen. I think it's more frequency actually than, you know, that war of the radiation than, I mean, the chemicals, yes, but I still think too that, you know, what was that doctor? It was a Dr. Hashimoto that spoke to his water you know, and then checked the structure and form of how it froze. And I think, you know, like taking that time to, you know, speak to the food that you eat and put your own energy in it and have intention when you sit down to eat, you know, you can neutralize some of the frequencies that have been placed into it with your own energy field.
Yeah. You know, and you know, like Christians do this when they say grace over a meal on top of all the hooks, traps, and snares that come with saying biblical things over your food. But you know, you come up with your own manner in which you cleanse the energy, which it probably does way more, because it's not just making kind of a change of what it is, but it's also making a change. It's almost like, hey guys, we're gonna have to take in some shit to fucking sustain ourselves, all right? And then you're kind of giving orders to your body to like, all right, let's get through this poison, all right, right? And you're doing it consciously like that because I think fate on a certain level understands you're only so far out of a situation, but you're really good at doing everything you can where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of the resources that I had available to me at that time. So I have to do the best with what I've got, everybody does. And we're all trying to live a less toxic life to a degree. It's difficult. It's not easy, especially with time constraints. So that's the biggest thing, it's not having that. It seems like time has sped up. I don't know how else to say it, but it does. So maybe I've just got more to do, or at that time in my life, whenever I was living like that, it was, I don't know, early 2000s, it was different somehow.
Well, I think at least for us, I don't know how it feels for other people, because it's hard to tell how the paying attention gets perceived with the frequency of things, because time is a measurement of change. So everything keeps changing so often that it's time has sped up, right? And so perhaps we've been so focused on paying attention to so many changes that it's screwing with us. And so if you have too much of an attachment, a relationship with a thing that has changed, you will change along with it, because your body will trick itself into thinking it needs to age.
Yeah, there's something to that, for sure.
Yeah. Like, about like Gen X, the strongest of Gen X's were the guys who checked out and just fixed their lives, right? Whether they were on a right path or a wrong path, they at least took fixing the situation for themselves seriously, and can't believe the horrendousness of everyone else. Gen X. Now the meme in 2026 is Gen X in their 50s versus someone else in their 30s that made bad choices, right? Like, we are, Gen X like us, maybe I'm cusping millennial, but still, we're well preserved.
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I'll be 46 this year.
Right. I just crossed the threshold like a week and a half ago.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I still feel like a little kid sometimes. It's a state of mind.
Yeah.
Like, to have a lot of fun,
No doubt. Like, if only I had this body when I was in my 20s, I would have had a much more exciting life.
Yeah, I was doing pretty good in my 20s. I stayed at the lake most of the time, a lot of the time. Scuba diving, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but
I was stuck in the worst of the habits of its time: the video games, the movies, and the junk foodings, and all that stuff, while I was also trying to make the music happen. That was in the 2000s, but
making music is its lifestyle to its own.
Yeah,
I live with a musician, I know. Yeah,
excellent.
I don't know. I like the musician lifestyle a little bit. I get bored without it. I was raised in it, so whenever I'm not around some live music, I get irritable.
Indeed.
It's good for the soul. I think that we should have more of it, because the music that they're trying to push on us is horrendous. I mean, some of it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's out there.
Right.
But you got to sift through it, where before there, at least the Tavistock Institute plan for our culture was somewhat listenable.
Yeah. Yeah. The yeah. It's just like, and I'm always very conscious of music's effect on me on an intuitive level. I've listened to some stuff that probably has said a lot of things that are very, very wrong. And but I don't like, it takes me a long time before I'm listening to certain songs lyrically, right? Because I want to listen and I want to like, well, where is your riffing at or whatever. And unless the lyrics are very obviously something where I can't just fucking stand him singing that statement, I just go through the vibe check, and then I have different relationships with music based on, okay, is this pagan black metal or satanic black metal? All right, satanic black metal, I listen to it here and there, depending. But the pagan stuff I actually have a spiritual relationship with, right?
Yes, yeah. You gotta be discerning with everything, because the words matter. And I was on YouTube Music. This is like 2 months ago, and I had been listening. I'm not a heavy metal person, but I was listening to heavy metal while I was doing the cold plunge situation. Back in November, December, January, because that was the only music I could tolerate while I was freezing to death.
Yes.
And
because doesn't that scream sound like you're shivering?
Yeah, exactly. That was right where I was at. Like the cure wasn't getting me to where I needed to be while I was in that water this winter.
Look, it's blizzard music, okay? That's what black metal is. It's just blizzard music.
It was. And I guess YouTube Music thought that I needed to listen to this like super heavy song, and I started listening to it, and I was like, oh my God. And I went and turned it off. I didn't even know what it was, but I knew that something was way dark. And so I sent it to Sethicus, and I was like, what's up with this? And he's like, oh my God, are you listening to this? And he sent back an interpretation, and it was like a Sumerian spell to death to the earth. And I was like, whoa, oh my God, YouTube Music, epic fail.
Right.
It was like, I mean, it was so dark, and the whole ritual was in the video. I mean, it was something like, I've never even seen before, and the vibe to it just made the hairs on my neck stand up, and I was like, what is this?
When in pop culture, Satanism is understood in a Christian lens. I don't know exactly the dynamics of how Satanism is understood in the Islamic world, other than a handful of things that I understand. But if you pay close enough attention, the more sophisticated dark shit is the Jewish Satanism, right?
I can only
because
imagine.
if it's possible for someone of the Christian world to take up an identity to be anti-Christing, then why wouldn't somebody in the Jewish world want to make a mockery of the Jewish religion by becoming their version, like an anti-Messiah or whatever the heck you want to call it, right?
I mean, you turned it into a verb because you know what you've been listening to. So the anti-Christing, that's the first time I had heard it turned into a verb, and you know who I'm talking about.
Right.
But yeah, that's a whole situation within itself. I think that even that those mystery traditions where they were going through that was because of a subconscious desire to get back to a state of awakening that we previously lost before Cataclysm. That's just my take. I think we lost our senses, and we had to use whatever means necessary to re-access the world. And in doing so, you access other realms that are not so beautiful.
Yeah. I even pre-cataclysm is one way I've put it. I like to say in context of that, pre-Anunnaki, right? But before we had the imposter gods come in from elsewhere and religiousize the animist traditions of the Middle East, which is some of the earliest religiousizations on record.
Yeah, I don't know. It ruined everything.
Yeah.
And it was from a decreased level of consciousness, I think, induced by trauma. I don't know.
No, yeah, that induced by trauma, whatever manipulations were in the shadow corruptions of the Atlantean civilization before it fell, because all the Dark Brotherhoods were there, bringing this shit in from the other side, opening up the wound to begin with, so on and so forth, and more things that I'm going to have to listen to the Black Earth material 50 more times and read 70
No, right? Yeah.
You know, I'm working on a very profane level of my studies right now. This is a Cambridge publication. This is what I'm dealing with till I figure out what I really got to fucking read. You know, and granted, I got to get in the library more, but I'm also navigating loosely.
I have an obsession with building my own library right now. You know, I can't quit. It's like a daily habit. I found so many cool books, and then I download an EPUB reader so I can take any document and make it an audio book so I can listen to it like while I'm doing laundry and stuff.
I think at the very least a medical library for you would be the most appropriate. I would make a specialized library if you want to make a big work of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I made Ashley's Ark, which has a medical library in it that I've been building since 2018. So every time I come across a book, I throw it in there. I don't know how many I have. I've got quite a few now. But I've even gone back to the writings of Galen, because with AI now, you can translate a great deal of that stuff, you know, and I've made them side-by-side PDF documents. Then you can turn that into a EPUB doc, which will read to you while you're doing laundry. So, you know,
I would have to make sure I understood what I was asking a large language model to do with its translation before
I like Claude better on the translation side. I don't, you know, you have to be careful. You don't take any of it. You know, I don't believe anything that AI says. I'm just looking for patterns, you know?
Yeah. That's all. I mean, I'm largely a Butlerian jihad person, you know.
Butlerian.
A Butlerian jihad, yeah. Yes, you have to know Dune for that. If you don't know Dune yet, you're gonna have to figure out.
But I'm not like a obsessive about it. I'm not like a nerd on it.
Oh no, you don't have to be a nerd. You don't have to be a nerd on it for sure. But Dune is a little bit part of temple teaching, so it's good to be familiar.
I did watch it at the IMAX. How about that?
Well, that's great that you saw the movie. The book, though. Oh, the book. Oh, the book and the conscious.
That's always the book is better. Always.
Right. But you don't understand. You don't understand how fucking weird, like the follow along to put the levels of things they just can't like fucking tell narratively in film that is in that book.
I know what you're saying. I have to be careful a little bit with what I allow into my mind at this juncture, because I'll dream about it, and I want to choose what I'm dreaming about to be my own and not have those influences right now.
Oh yeah, I feel you. It's why I'm very drawn back with entheogens at this point.
Yep, we're still squeaky clean right now. I am squeaky clean, and I'm enjoying it in my life to have like real clarity, and I'm digging it.
I think I think I need to I do want to go back to the microdosing thing, because I think I absolutely don't have my mind exactly attuned to those frequencies as I want it to, but you know, I can tell kind of where I'm at, and I can also tell that, like, if I go into the dream space, I'm very good. Like, I don't believe that if I jumped consciously in there, I think I'd probably have too much noise, signal to noise kind of going on about my feelings about what I'm experiencing. So if I microdose, I think I can just get myself more comfortable.
Yeah, well, you can do that with the root bark. You know, you don't have to have the synthetic, white powder, like just the root bark. It's just getting authentic, not every person that says, oh, I've got iboga root bark actually has iboga root bark. You could end up with something completely different, and that's a whole other situation and scenario.
Gotcha.
That's just like, there's fakers on every corner nowadays, imposters. And, I mean, I ordered some, what is it? It's Palo Azul. Palo Azul is a blue tree wood that you use for urinary tract infection that makes blue tea that I bought off Amazon the other day, and it wasn't even remotely blue tea. I have no idea. I got that off Amazon. I think that there's more. If we knew that how much of our stuff was synthetic and fake, we would flip out.
Yeah. I can't. My problem comes with clothing shopping. I look at fucking clothing on theirs. It's like, oh, you're not gonna look like that when you show up, are you? You're not that quality. What am I paying for this? Nah, you're not. You look like a fucking $100 fucking shirt. But I'm paying $30 for it. Nah, I don't believe it's gonna look like that, right? It takes a while. It takes a while for me to figure out I'm buying the right thing.
Somebody in there said a lot of people are synthetic and fake. Yeah, a lot of food is synthetic and fake, and we are what we eat. That's the problem. The drugs are synthetic and fake. It's not even real Gila monster venom. All of this stuff is fake. It's it's an imposter of the imposter of the imposter, just like I was saying, decoys. Because in the iboga, yes, it's a white powder. In ibogaine, in that version, it is a white powder. It's the bark that's a brown powder.
Effectively, everything is filling itself up with patentable materials instead of just making a deal with an agricultural product direct. That's what the F they're doing. They're just turning something in nature into something of Frankenstein to give to you.
They've been trying to make ibogaine the therapeutic anti-addiction portion of the drug separate from the hallucinatory experience since the mid-90s, and have been completely unsuccessful in doing it, because the drug itself, when the plant, when you take it, gives you a life review in a visionary form, so you get to see where you've screwed everybody over and screwed yourself over this whole time by being a jerk or being ignorant or whatever, and then you get to go and apologize to yourself and make restitution and live a better life. And treat yourself better.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah. So it's a question of, can we live in a world that wants to operate the application a certain way, right? It's just like, you're going to go through the dangers of doing it without the life review, or you can risk facing yourself doing it properly. One way is an extraordinary backfiring risk, but of course they're going to market that. Therefore, they're going to lie to you about that, because forces up the ranks need revenue to come in from somewhere for their purposes.
Yeah. Well, it was supposed to come up that MDMA was going to be legal last year. It went up for review, and for some reason they said no, they've already cured PTSD doing that. I mean, PTSD is assisted with trauma release exercises, TRE, which has been known for a long time. I don't know. I had it. I don't have it anymore. I just don't. I had it from being in the ER and from some of the things I went through in my life. And I was able to see myself from the observer position and step out of the emotion, watch myself experience the emotion. And whenever I went back in, I didn't have to go through it anymore. It was just that simple. I know that doesn't always happen for people. People suffer through it for years. Some people never get over it, depending on how bad their trauma was. But that's how it worked for me. But plant medicine and alternative health ways, and getting out into nature and recognizing that every single thing is conscious, was a huge part in how I got past it. Because the trauma itself is from being detached from everything and feeling detached from the life flow and the energy flow that exists in the natural world. And because of that, it gets blocked within yourself. That's all it is blocked energy.
Yes, 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 and all those inflammation points. I forget. Did we go over? Because I mentioned the inflammation, and then I think I
Yeah.
think we've been talking about it throughout. But did you get into your inflammation spiel as a whole?
No, but we should, because it's the root cause of all this. So,
Yeah.
of course, that all the synthetic things are inflammatory. And now they're saying that GLP-1s reduce inflammation. And that's been proven in certain doses. At what cost? You have to ask yourself, by doing it the cheat code way instead of doing it right, by eating whole foods. But stress, your state of mind, I cannot say this enough, your state of mind and what you allow yourself to ruminate on is one of the most either inflammatory or anti-inflammatory tools that you have. It doesn't cost a dime to choose not to obsess over things that you cannot control. And we are faced so much right now with all these things that we cannot control, like, on a larger level. And it's all distractions to some degree. We have to stay aware of it as a part of our survival here on this time at Midgard right now. We have to be here, we have to look at it to some degree to know what's going on. But at the same time, you've got to be able to disconnect in a healthy and balanced way and have a healthy relationship with our devices and our radiation exposure, because those cause epigenetic changes. Your epigenetic genome is 98% of your DNA. The unchangeable hardware portion of your DNA is only 2%. So the other 98% is editable by nutrition, mineral, antioxidant, your mind and emotions, radiation exposure, and toxic chemical exposures. And you can control what goes into your body. A lot of it is economic warfare because groceries are so expensive. I just encourage you to find a local farmer, the best that you know how, that is doing their farm right and not give into the convenience of being able to run to the dollar store or whatever your local grocery store is and grab something fast. And I know that there's people out there that are working 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet, and it's so hard to eat well while you're running and gunning. But
Yeah,
you can do it with planning ahead. You have to plan ahead. You can't wait till the last minute.
Right. I mean, like, one of the benefits that you could have seized during 2020 was that you weren't in that state of running and gunning so much. You had the ability to stop and take a little bit of time, because everybody had nothing but time back then. Time stood still because everything abruptly changed and then didn't change for 9 months. Well, technically not 9 months per se, because then you had Summer of Floyd in there. But, the point is, those were time frames that were held together and frozen in time because nothing changed.
I would say that stressing over things that you can't control is more detrimental to your health than some of the chemical exposures that you're doing, because what's happening whenever you get yourself stuck in fight or flight by an unsolvable scenario that you're running on a merry-go-round of chaos in your head about, is that you're producing cortisol, and cortisol is a steroid hormone, and it suppresses your immune system, and you're taking your own defenses down every time you sit and focus on that stuff. And you have to realize it's a type of self-attack. It's no different. It's like, you see people who are cutters, that have psychiatric issues, and they'll cut themselves for relief. Allowing yourself to run those loops in your head of worrying about things and focusing on things that you have no control over, you have nothing to do with, and that you can't fix, is a form of self-harm in the same way. It's a type of self-soothing and it creates a neural track in your brain that makes a loop in the same way that you hear a song over and over in your head, and it creates an energy bubble on a loop. And that triggers an entire cascade to take you out of your parasympathetic nervous system, which is known as your rest and digest system, which is where you actually have blood flow into your gut so that you can absorb minerals and nutrients. We're supposed to sit down with our family, and we're supposed to laugh and talk about our day and, do dishes together and plan the next day together. And most people don't have that. But that's how it went on for thousands of years in tribes, and so we don't get into that calmed, I'm safe feeling to be able to rest and digest at dinner time. We're like eating a burrito from Taco Bell while we're driving a 5-speed with our phone on our shoulder. Like,
but you know what? Also, like, you know, a lot of us we're talking about a great deal of our experience with the boomer generation, and everything kind of in that sphere, right? And maybe a little bit of Gen X. That was you know, they may have been setting that up, and then it would be us Gen X kids that was being confronted with, they're on this loop that aren't paying attention to them, seemingly making you know, rational conclusions to things they hear about that are problems for them in their world. And you know, they hear, you know, you learn things you don't like about your parents and that you disagree with, you start disconnecting, right? You don't have the same relatability with them, even though it's the same, you know, you're the same person.
I don't even talk to my family anymore. How am I, you know, I've got people that are so polarized on the political spectrum that sitting down to dinner with them would make my food taste bad.
Right.
I can't.
Right. I mean, like, listen, I mean, like, and I don't even mean politics. Like, because, you know, a lot of boomers were not political robots. They were robots of whatever their fucking like little fucking habit was. Right. You know, they were like the guy that
when the TV came into the house, you know, it went
week, right. You know, it was the guy that liked, you know, to go out and like, you know, work in his garage. And like they all had like these certain things that was like, this is a thing that I do in a way that I do it, and I have built my I amness off of this thing and all of these pre-approved ideas. I grew up with authorities that I trusted for the time, and why wouldn't I trust them? Nothing bad happened to me, and somebody told me it was someone else's own fault that bad things happened to them. So all's right in the world. What are my kids complaining about my lifestyle about? Right? This was the NPC program of your parent while watching George Bush fucking do his bullshit, while we're watching Barack Obama do his bullshit. You know, like we hadn't even registered Clinton yet. And, you know, if you're a liberal kid in the 90s, you think Clinton's pretty fucking good, right?
I'm in the hometown of that.
I know. You're
part of my family was like, you know,
right up the ass of the army.
That you know, someone from here was going, you know, to the White House. It was like this huge deal. And this is like 91, you know, my grandmother like buys this super fancy dress and buys tickets to the inaugural ball because she has no clue of what that meant to get in who he was. And this is even after the Mina scandals and the Barry Seal stuff that all went down here, you know, like they've admitted all of it, you know, like, I mean, his mom was probably, you know, she was working in the governor's mansion. It's
right.
And Rockefeller probably his dad, you know, that's the side rumor.
We're talking about parents that were completely programmed by CNN, and you didn't know how much Ted Turner fucking worships the Clintons until that fucking leak came out with that guy talking to Clinton while he's under his programmed days, being like, dude, you know, Turner, he will make you president. He loves you, man. Right? Like the shit he's saying on fucking camera because of the way satellite feeds worked. And no one ever thought it would ever see the light of fucking day or be out there in just a click away at any time from your console.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, but look at their one generation back. So you've got the boomer generation, which was that like World War II generation. You know, what I mean, you could look at, are you talking about boomer generation was the ones that were born right after World War II, right? And so then back from there,
World War II, and people before, I mean, like you're talking about stacks of it, man. Stacks of it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I see the trauma from World War I like build into that. Like we had, I don't know, war after war, and it's warped the genome. Literally. And then you throw in like the hexes that were put on specific bloodlines, which are quite real, may I add. A lot of people don't get it. I can't help that. I've experienced
Yeah.
fixing some of those situations personally, which was extremely eye-opening.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to even convey what all that entailed, but
people are outraged. People are outraged at the cover-up of what Germany was like just before World War II. And what Berlin was
but
like,
look at the propaganda machine at the time. Oh my God.
Like, people do not I don't even understand it yet, although I know that the poorly labeled Tartaria research into all that antiquity that was destroyed in Europe, like a lot of that is basically the product of the German Renaissance. People don't understand what was going on in the Germanic Europe in the 19th century. You kind of get a little bit of a hint of it. If you go watch Nosferatu again, you can kind of put yourself there. Like the new version, the Eggers version.
Yeah, I like my favorite Nosferatu was the series that came out on AMC. By far.
I didn't see the series.
I don't think anybody has every time I've mentioned it, but my gosh, it was good. It was really good. It focused a lot on how artists and creators could accidentally enter the world of Nosferatu through creating bridges. And some people went anyway. You'll have to check it out. It's really good. I don't want to spoil it. But.
Okay, cool. Is it made in the modern time?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's got the logo for the series is NOS402 on the license plate, where it's NOS4A2 is his license plate number for this creepy ass old car.
Okay, gotcha. It's and it's funny. Nosferatu becomes the name of a clan in the World of Darkness Vampires the Masquerade game, and if you play the Nosferatu, you have to have Nosferatu style features or whatever, but they played it on a twist in the game because they're part of the Camarilla, which are like the good guys. By the way, their game world works because they aren't as the Camarilla are like, they still kind of wrestle with having humanity. They're slightly better moral code. They see themselves as very good covertly malevolent managers as opposed to overtly malevolent tyrants.
Okay.
Right? Because like the Sabbat in that game is basically a carbon copy of the true face of the cult of Baal Lilith, right? Because like Jeffrey Epstein with his genetic research and shit, just like that's Sabbat, like Sabbat world, the subhuman treatment, right? And when you realize, and whether they realized it at a certain point or not, which they did because they used the Book of Enoch, or the Book of Cain, as in Cain and Abel, as their progenitor vampire. This is the game that gives you an idea of the Goyim, the Shabbat Goy relationship to their bloodline rabbis, their inner temple rabbis, and the feud in between them. So it's quite a brilliant game, and you can play, you can run every conspiracy in the book through that game. There's built-in mechanics for it, and there's built-in background settings and characters, and you base it in the real world. Any plot and time in the real world you want, there's a game mechanic for it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't played a lot of games, but I haven't like
tabletop. So you're not gonna have time for it unless you have time to be sociable with a small group of friends.
Yeah.
Very long format, because it takes it, you can do a short game in a session, but Vampire has no satisfaction unless you've played it for at least 4 sessions. That's a lot of hours sitting around a table with your buddies.
Yeah, I don't know. I've studied a lot.
The
I've
lore
studied this crap a lot. That's been my shtick.
If you get the core rule book for the game, there's so much good look because they did their research, right? They were like doing this figuring out the grand mythos before they realized how important someone like me would take it. Because they do werewolves too, and that's where I fell in love.
Yeah. Well,
but anyway, enough of that stuff. That's just me getting into me now. These people aren't here for me today. They're here for you.
Well, so we talked about like the internal aspects of inflammation.
Yes.
So whenever you there are things that you can take naturally to help with inflammation that are not oft discussed. I think one of the greatest things, and these all do have like curcumin. Curcumin is fantastic for joint pain. But you have to be careful. It can alter your blood glucose levels if you are diabetic. And it can thin your blood a little bit.
Did you say
curcumin is turmeric extract? CIRCUMIN.
Okay. I think I may have heard. Is that already popular in the supplement market? Because it sounds like
sure, but it works.
I've heard of CoQ10 because that was something that Alex Jones sold.
CoQ10 is necessary to have adequate mitochondrial function, which is really good. We all need that. NAD is good. To bring up testosterone levels in men, high quality Shilajit is fantastic. That alone can help with joint pain in men. You can get a 1 hertz and 3 hertz ultrasound device machine on Amazon for like less than $300. It is great for joint pain over time. There is things, let's see, in women, they don't talk about it a lot, but, having your hormones balanced is very important. And a lot of the sources can be from plant-based estrogens, which helps reduce inflammation and joint pain as you get older. And I do not like the pellets that they're doing on women right now. They have tested genetically some of these pellets that they have injected into these women that have died of cancer, and it is literally rat estrogen. Dun, dun, dun. I'm like, could you not? Okay.
Well,
but here we are.
Everybody go watch Universe 23.
I don't want to have, but they have done that. That is something whenever you're hearing about, go get your hormone pellets, hormone balancing. Yeah. No. There's other ways. There's better ways through plant sources. Know your sources, people. That's a real issue right now, really, isn't it?
Yeah. What it takes is people having knowledge the way that you do, where you can basically, if you know the primary side effect to be promised by this medicine, basically the lie is that that's the side effect. No, that's the prime effect. And you can just fucking look them straight in the face and be like, no, what you're actually taking is for this. That's all it's doing for you. What you're taking it for is the side effect. This is what they're actually giving you, right? Like, people need to understand, because we're in this flip, we're in this upside down, we're in this fucking inversion. And if you can't just walk in and fucking say it and straighten it the fuck out, it'll conquer the psyche of that area. People within that psychic field, like a chat room, a school, or whatever kind of group of thought that's out there, it'll Watiko infect everybody. And because of the amount of people that don't have critical thinking skills, can't apply the trivium to the application of facts, so on and so forth. And we are the dragons that can breathe fire upon this.
So another thing I really want to talk about for inflammation, which is almost never discussed, is biomagnetic pair therapy. this is, man, I cannot express the importance of this, especially now whenever we're dealing with parasite invasion to the extreme. Okay, so biomagnetic paratherapy was developed initially out of German New Medicine, a collaboration and extension of German New Medicine. And it was a Dr. Riker, I believe. They made him die in prison after 30 years of evidence and research and crucified him in the media. But he understood and proved that when a person has physical or psychological trauma, that they get concentric rings around their brain in a specific area. In a CT scanner, this is represented, it just looks like tree rings. And it's electrochemical, almost like an explosion that creates some scar tissue on this area. When they teach modern radiology students to read these CT scans, they tell them that it is artifact from the machine itself, and it's completely ignored. Well, he determined that those concentric rings corresponded to specific organs on the body, and those specific organs had alterations in pH. So it would be either acidic or highly basic or alkaline, and that was detectable by electromagnetic field detectors that were very, very sensitive devices. Well, they figured if you could detect hydrogen ion alterations known as a pH imbalance in organs with an electromagnetic field detector, that you would be able to reverse it with electromagnetic fields. And so this is where Dr. Isaac Goiz, G-O-I-Z, Duran came in, and he found that you could. And so they used applied kinesthesiology, which is muscle testing, basically through the sciatic nerve, which is different from every other form of muscle testing that is out today. And they would test on the feet, and a therapist will hold the feet and ask permission from the sole to tie into the sciatic nerve, and will ask for a yes baseline and a no baseline. And one foot will get longer, and then it will return to where it was for a no. And of course, it depends on the tester and the ability to see and everything like that. So they use these to identify close to 300 reservoirs in the body for specific infective agents, specifically for viruses, bacteria, fungus, and parasites. Because the parasites that you have in your body, they don't stay where the infection is. They go to another area, and then they kind of come out and wake up. And so, for example, the new meningitis scare that we're having in the UK right now it has been discussed at Dr. Goiz's Biomagnetic University in Mexico City, and they have determined that the reservoir for that new form of meningitis is in the armpits. Okay. And so what happened, you have to change your toothbrush out every day, or soak it in hydrogen peroxide, because it starts in the gums, runs down the lymphatic, and goes straight into the lymphatic glands in the armpits here. So that's how you can treat that. And it's very effective. You leave the magnets in place for about an hour, and then you do that once a week for 6 weeks, and then you're done. Because it makes it altering the electromagnetic field, alters the hydrogen ions, which makes it inhospitable on the pH level for that specific virus, bacteria, parasite, or fungus. And so it will leave the area and be picked up by the immune system and carried out. Broken down with macrophages and natural killer cells and all those good things. And so the average treatment time is 6 weeks, sometimes less, for very severe cases. And this works for meningitis, for rubella, E. coli. The list, there's 300 of them. I'm learning them right now. And this can be taught. There are online clinics where you can learn this all over the internet. And, there actually was a new strain. But it's not anything like they tested. They use every moment, to try to get people to get and stand in line and all that. It's complete nonsense. But it's usually based on one little hair of truth. But these magnets are, they reduce inflammation. They pull inflammation out of the area. The negative side of the magnet is the one that's safe to use for the unlearned person that doesn't know a lot about the magnets. The positive side can actually make things grow, which you don't necessarily want to do, because if somebody has some underlying cancer cells or something else going on there, you know, you could make it worse. But like, for example, when someone came into the clinic with dental pain, I watched the doctor put the negative side of the magnet on the dental pain and the positive side on the kidney, and the extra fluid went out and they peed it out. It was like dental pain gone. You know, of course, if you have a severe infection, you might need to treat that as an adjunctive treatment. It's not an end all be all. But you know, there's multiple modalities for everything. Some people take more than just the magnets, you know, with the herbs and the plants, but I've seen some pretty miraculous things. Goes was nominated for the Nobel Prize for putting cancer and HIV into remission. And whenever they told him, no, you're not getting the Nobel Prize because it's a bad business model, and we're giving it to the guy that makes the Gardasil vaccine, who gives you genital warts, and, you know, to kids. And, and so, yeah. And when he got back, they burned his clinic down.
We think we're going to catch Jeffrey Epstein's fucking client list when we allow our fucking kids to be prescribed genital warts.
Mm-hmm.
This is how
right. Well, they're still doing it.
We can't clean our own house. You pissed off about the Epstein class? You're fucking buying off the Epstein class of your own free fucking will choice. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Keep going.
It's like that. It's like that. And so anyway, they burned his clinic down and shot at his whole family, and he went in the underground, and you know, he's got full records, all of his documented people that he reversed HIV. This is in 1988, for God's sake, with magnets. And so, you know, he went underground and he trained hundreds of doctors all over Mexico City. It's hard to find the documentation on it in English, although it is out there because it's getting more popular. This is standard practice in the hospitals, like in Ecuador, Argentina, maybe not Argentina, but there's several countries that have biomagnetic pair therapists that come in and treat just like they do with the other treatments. Because it's a known science, and it's been suppressed for a long time, because you can buy a set of the pair magnets on Etsy for $125 and deactivate parasites without having to take ivermectin, which is a fertility sterilizer for children. And so, you know, they want you to buy the drug. Ivermectin was pushed so hard, and, you know, I'm sure it does get rid of parasites. We've all known that for a long time, but do you know that it causes infertility? You know, these are things we have to address. You know, nothing that they offer is without a scorpionic backbite on the end of it.
I got a question for you. It was a gift someone gave to me, came across a pair of lodestones. You ever used lodestones as magnetic therapy?
For meditating.
Yeah.
I've held them in my hand while I was meditating to make a circuit.
Yeah. I've been working a lot. Like, I got like my scepter and my antler over here. So like, I'm usually not holding these guys, especially because when I'm doing ritual, I like to wiggle my fingers, and I can't wiggle my fingers that much unless I'm doing this, and then it's going to roll. It might roll off because it's a precarious way to hold them. It's wild. Yeah,
there's actually, we live in an area that's an ancient volcano just west of here, and in that area it's called Magnet Cove because there are raw magnets in the shape of crystals just laying on the ground everywhere, with garnets and all kinds of stuff.
I've heard a theory, because there's kind of from last I'm told, like they're still not sure where these come from, but I do think that they do find them around like this, and I think that there is a cover up, that we used to have magnetic ordinances that we were using during certain wars. This could be a Tartarian musket ball, if you will.
Interesting.
This could be like they were shooting, because when you think about it, you're trying to shoot a target in an open field. and you know how magnets work, and you're shooting metal,
Yeah.
people holding metal. How are you going to improve your aim? How are we going to make sure a cannonball hits one of those ironclads in the Civil War, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
put a magnetic property in it, it'll lean in. It would be like your very first smart bomb.
That's an interesting concept. I don't know how that would be affected by velocity.
Yeah, well, velocity. Well, the thing is, if you're hitting a large target, which means something that we don't think of in existence, or even something like, okay, say you've got a cavalry and they've got like a light metal like thing on them that's designed to protect them from the stuff, right? You could shoot, and then maybe the way it hits, I don't know. Maybe it's a stupider idea than, I don't know. I mean, with velocity, maybe it doesn't matter. It's a weird thought, but I mean, they are about the shape of a large caliber musket. So I don't know. It's just for a ball to just be lying.
That's a big, yeah, that's a pretty large gun on
looks
that one.
like it was
possible.
Manufactured. And
it's
then
possible.
Yeah.
There's not very many perfect circles in nature, but
right, spheres. Yeah.
Perfect. Although they found a lot of them that are unexplained.
Well, right. That's that's pretty much getting into mud fossils, which I'm a believer in most mud fossils. So, giant organisms and all that stuff,
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. It's just a question of which angles are, because like everything else, there's a lot of toxic information, and it's going to take a while for the stuff that came out during toxic narratives to be distilled, separated, put into new context, and being like, you see, the earth isn't this and that, but it was this and that.
It's unfathomable what the earth was over millennia, but it's hard to reconcile all of it. There's so much, and we're just here for this little window of time. Right. I want to make the most,
Yeah. And then if you figure out how to remote view, nobody's going to believe your
no.
Anyway, well, let me tell you exactly what it was like 5,000 years before fall of Atlantis. You see, I was in the streets as a 17-year-old Queelig. Oh, what's a Queelig? Oh, that's a different race of man you don't know about. And then you start
fucking end up in the crazy house is what happened.
One day, and you got an argument with your girlfriend that's got like 6 fingers on her left hand, or you start telling them how it was, and everybody just thinks you're a kook. Anyway.
That's how it goes too. They will.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to get going here shortly.
Yeah, no, I think I was kind of.
I'm sorry for my tardiness on the front end.
Yeah, I was just trying to I was thinking about a wrap-up point. I wanted to make sure that we had a healthy amount of material on this end. Oh, we went over an hour anyway. So that way, if hopefully the first video will turn out pretty solid. Okay.
I hope so.
Yes. So I'll make sure these are strung together and everything else. So Ashley, so let's go through the big goodbye aesthetic infusions. The link is down in the description box, but please throw us your parting words, how people can get a hold of you if they want to get you for interview and things like that.
Yeah, I actually have 2 businesses. Aesthetic Infusions was my first business that I started. It was mostly aesthetics, but I'm leaning more towards my other business, which is holistic cellular response therapy, which is homeopathic mineral replacement, shockwave therapy for musculoskeletal pain, and then we're focusing on neuromodulation to help people get off opiates without withdrawals and to get off Suboxone, fentanyl, oxycodone without having to go through pure hell. That's Serenity Springs, AR.com, SERENITY, Springs, SPRINGS, AR.com. And all of my contact information is on there. If you have any questions, I do Zoom calls, hit me up on there if you have questions about anything. I try to help anybody I can within my time lot schedule. So if I don't get back to you immediately, I will get back to you eventually.
Excellent. All right, guys, thank you very much. Yes, as for me, I feel the thing, and I will have Scott Carlson of Northern Paganism on next weekend. I think we gunned for Saturday. It was Saturday or something. I'm going to be making that, setting up that live stream in a little bit, so that way you can mark it on your calendars. And yeah, so that's it from me and Ashley today. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. And I'm going to, I guess I kill it on the StreamYard end first. So hopefully nothing gets cut off here at the end. And
all right.
Thanks
for having me.